I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. He speaks, and the sound of his voice is so sweet, the birds hush their singing, and the melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. I'd stay in the garden with him, though the night around me is falling, but he bids me go through the voice of woe. His voice to me is calling. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known.
Thank you very much, John and Rosie, and we're singing it up for you.
For over 30 years, Mark and Amy Adams-Westin have been making music together. Known professionally as Amy and Adams, the duo has performed their unique blend of music in nursing homes, retirement communities, churches, and other local venues. Playing for many different audiences is a challenging proposition. Gathering equipment, setting up, performing for their audiences, engaging folks in conversation, and then breaking down, packing up, and heading home. But Mark and Amy are on a mission.
We're musicians and we love our work.
And much of that work is done at assisted living, transitional, and nursing care facilities.
We're passionate about the miracles of music.
That's right. We all have those special songs that transport us back to a different time and place.
That renew our minds and spirits and give us the energy to get up and dance even if we're tired and sore.
Well, our parents and our grandparents have those songs too.
And when we share those songs with them, it's just like we flipped a switch, turned the years back, and all the lights on.
Conversations with several people who have heard their music illustrate the meaning of this mission. For example, in 2024, Mark and Amy met with Russ Carlson, whose tearful reaction to In the Garden was featured in the first segment of the music video.
We captured something that Amy and I see regularly when we do this song with people. And you made it happen. So you haven't seen it, I know. So I thought I'd just play it for you.
I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice
So that's a reaction that we get quite a bit when we do this song, because the song we found when we sing it with people, especially people who know it, a reaction like yours happened. Can you tell us, was that thinking about somebody who used to sing it with you? And
in fact, yes. When I first started playing the organ when I was 16, I had a key to the church because they said, come and practice. You're going to need it. So, because we didn't have an organ at home. So I would be up there practicing, and my mother would come in the back of the church, and she'd walk up to the altar rail, and she'd just stand there once in a while. Or she'd sit in the front pew and just listen. In my rehearsals, I'd always rehearse the hymns for Sunday at the end of my rehearsal time. So she would come up and she would sing with me while I practiced them. So many hymns that we sang together are right here. Whenever I sit and play them, I hear her.
yeah,
And it's very emotional for me,
yeah,
you know. But this one in particular, I've lost 2 brothers over the course of the years that were older than I am. And that song was sung at both of their funerals.
wow,
When Mom passed away in 2008, I played and sang for her funeral as well, and sang that for her. It's one of the hardest songs I have to sing, but it's also one of the more meaningful songs.
yeah,
The text is so strong and powerful. The text itself, we can get caught up in our world today, and we might lose sight of where God is in our lives. And that's really sad, because the text even tells us, He walks with me and He talks with me. And He tells me, I am His own. If we lose sight of that, we've lost sight of God.
the text itself is devoid of judgment
Yes.
and devoid of anything but kindness and gentleness and peace.
Yep.
And
Peace and joy. The joy
Yeah.
we share
yeah,
as we tarry there.
the thing that we notice and the thing that's made us want to make a video and talk about it is that we see people's faces go from to. And so we have a lot of interesting experiences in places that we play. One of them, for instance, is we played there are all kinds of homes. There's the ones for the people with a lot of money,
Oh, yeah.
and then there's the ones for the people with no money.
Right.
And they're different, and the way the people are cared for are different. But we were playing at one of those, the lower end, and they wheeled up a gentleman on a gurney, laying down, drooling, looking, he was in his 90s, totally out of it.
Sure.
And you tend to think, well, why are they bringing this person up here? You know, and looking down during one of the choruses, like the last chorus, he was singing with us. And you know, both Amy and I wanted to cry, but you just keep going.
Exactly.
And so this song seems to have something in it that turns lights on for people, and all music does. Well, do you
does.
find that?
Yeah.
So when you were, did you sing with your mom a lot when she had Alzheimer's too? And was it like bringing her back into?
Well, those are the things she remembered.
Yeah,
You know, and was willing to share it, you know. She was very angry that she was in this care center.
Yeah.
She didn't understand why.
yeah,
And we knew that was happening,
yeah,
you know, but you can't fix that.
yeah,
But when you take the opportunity to share something that she does remember and that she does it right with you,
yes.
that's very powerful, you know, and you know that she cares so much about that. It was very important.
This one gentleman, after our show, his caretaker came and said, "Can Joe talk to you? He wants to talk about music. Will you talk to him?" And we did. We had a 5-10 minute conversation.
Nice.
And he seemed like a normal person, you know? And then she took him up and came back, kind of with tears in her eyes, and she said, Joe's in the final stages of Alzheimer's, and he hasn't been able to put 2 words together for months. And he was talking to us like a normal, you know, like you and I are talking, with no hint. I had no hint during the show even that and so I feel that the treatment needs to change a little. It needs to change from the idea that this is a person who's damaged into this is a person who still has light into it if we can just bring that light into their room. If we can find a way to relate with them where they're at. So I don't know if we'll ever cure Alzheimer's.
Yeah, who knows?
But I think that one of the hopeful signs that I see about it is the fact that people put muscle on, they put smiles on. It changes their being, and it puts memories that they can speak of and talk about, and it really flips the light on within them. And you can watch within 5 minutes of music that change, or 10 minutes of music, and then you get to something like In the Garden, or God Bless America, or another one that we always, I'll be loving you always.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Watching a couple reach out and grab each other's hands, you know, and sing that song, because maybe it was at their wedding or whatever, you know.
Right.
And so it's like when my mother and when Amy's mother were in their final stages, I could still see the light in those people. The light of my mother never went out until she relinquished it.
Right.
She loved to sing, knew so many of the old hymns, and music was always a big part of Mother's life. From my earliest memory, you'll hear it later on tape, she sings a song called Two Little Orphans, a boy and a girl sat by the old church door, and it means so much to my brothers and I to hear it now on tape. And when we first noticed Mother had some dementia, I think it would be 2005. She passed away in 2007. And so she had it for probably 2 years. So we started to notice a little bit of unusual behavior.
One of the reasons that we're doing this film is the experience that you had with Mother, and she was certainly well into dementia.
She was.
But it involved music, and it was such a beautiful story.
And so I would sing with her. I had a Reader's Digest, as you remember, I had a Reader's Digest instrumental, and it was all the old hymns, which she dearly loved and knew by heart. And dementia or not, she could still remember all the words. And we'd be singing together. We did. I felt like it was a blessing in the end, her end of her life, for me to have that time with her, and hopefully a blessing for her. But we would sing together all the hymns. I loved them as much as she did. I still do. And at one point she stopped me singing. She said, "Janet, you're singing flat." Oh, okay, Mom. Oh, I'm sorry.
And this is at a time when she's barely verbalizing
She
with
was
us.
toward the end. It was
Yes.
probably in maybe the last couple of months, maybe
Right,
something
right.
like that, 3 months. She was still.
So for her to verbalize was important. But what's beautiful about it is the music wasn't gone.
No,
The
not
music
at all.
was there.
Always there. She never stopped. And it was right up, until the last days she would sing with me.
Right.
And it was wonderful. And the first...
Little orphans, a girl and a boy, sat by an old church door.
The little girl's feet were as brown as the curls that fell on the dress that she wore.
There's a road that leads to heaven, and it's paved with hearts like yours. Only love makes life worth living, and I thank the Lord for love like ours.
Well, I wanted to ask you about your mom, because I know that she had memory loss towards the end of her life, as did my mom, and it was heartbreaking. It's hard on the family, and I think it's hard on the person with the disease, but honestly, we don't really know. I mean, I think there was a segment of time when it was really hard, but then there was as it advanced, I don't know what the struggles were. But I know one thing that seems to really work with people with memory loss is music. And I think you had that experience.
Yes.
So tell me about your mom.
My mother always loved music. Her father was the leader of his own orchestra, and so her love for music began, from the day she was born.
Like,
yes,
yeah.
She would wake up in the mornings with her brother to him playing the clarinet and the saxophone at the bottom of their stairway. Music was very much a part of her life growing up, all the way to the day she died. My mother's Alzheimer's journey was a long process. It was about a 9-year journey.
Yeah.
And it was very hard. And, when she was diagnosed, there was a certain amount of just kind of getting up to speed with what that was going to mean and just kind of adapting and taking it step by step. My mother was somebody who loved Scrabble, and she loved puzzles, and she loved word games, and she was very smart, and she always beat us. So we could tell how the illness or the disease was progressing based on how much she was having to let go of those things that she loved. She was no longer able to, put the puzzles together and that kind of thing. So we were gradually watching those things slip away. But one thing that was not slipping away for my mother was music. She loved musicals. She loved all kinds of music. And her last year of life, we had to move her into a memory care facility. For a while there, she would enjoy certain television shows, and that gradually slipped away. She was not able to necessarily remember certain people that had once been important to her or that she loved. She was experiencing a lot of frustration and a lot of confusion, and we would use music to calm her, because that was the one thing that seemed to not go away. She was able to latch on to the words to music. She had her favorites: Andy Williams, Josh Groban, Amy and Adams. We
were really honored when we learned that. That was just made our hearts melt.
Yeah, she did, and In the Garden was one of her favorite songs. When she was especially feeling low or feeling depressed, we would put that song on for her, and it was like an instant
It's
a lift for her.
Comforting song.
It is comforting, and it was bringing back memories, I
Yes.
think, from the past. She was, finally able to kind of latch onto those things that she was fond of remembering from her past. And she could sing those lyrics, which was kind of amazing to me because she could not always, communicate. That was starting to slip away. She couldn't always remember names. She would raise her hand and look at you and point and smile. And so when she would start singing those songs, it was almost as if we were communicating again. Hearing
like you
her
had
voice.
her back again.
Yes.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
In the middle of the night, when everything is right, I wanna hold you, babe. I wanna hold you, babe. When I just can't find my song, 'cause everything is wrong, I wanna hold you, babe. I wanna hold you, babe.
I'm Paul Krause, the eldest of 8 children. When I was born, my mother, Lillian Krause, was just 21 years old. When I think about my childhood, all I can hear is singing, my mother singing. My mom always sang, mostly songs from the 1940s, many of which eventually found their way into my heart and soul. Her singular love was Sweet Adeline's, and she was a founding member of a chorus in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. She sang in the chorus and in a quartet entitled Short and Sweet, and they were. In the following video, we see her in the 1970s, a member of Vocal Motion, a chorus created and led by my sister Caroline.
With me, come on, baby, sing.
Mom lived to be 97 years of age. In the last 6 or 7 years of her life, she suffered from dementia. It became severe enough that she did not recognize me, her firstborn, and I was unable to really express my deep love for her. When I visited, she thought I was a nice man. This was the greatest loss so far in my life. That said, she still loved to sing. One of her favorites was Show Me the Way to Go Home. For her celebration of life, it was written, Lil will be most remembered for her passion for music, her beautiful voice, and the loving care she brought to this world and shared with her family. As Hans Christian Andersen once said, where words fail, music speaks. Mark and Amy's beautiful rendition of In the Garden is truly a way to show us how to go home.
Come, Lord, and be with us this day. Stay with us. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above.
As musicians, as musical performers, as my mother died from the same disease, Amy's mother and 2 of her sisters so far have died from this. Right. One of the things that we found, and that I think we found again today, is as how music turns lights on. Mm-hmm. And we've seen people go from like this to like this and sing it. Have you?
Absolutely.
And tell us a little about that.
So I'll come in on Saturdays and there's just not a lot of activity and they're lost, they're a little bit confused and sitting around just like you described. So I'll just get my iPod out, put my phone rather, put put some good rock and roll music on, I mean, they are up, they are dancing. It's an instant response to life. You know, they just come back.
And was he like that today, you think?
Not really,
Okay.
but other people were.
Yeah,
So that's
that was,
good.
yeah. The lights are there to be turned on.
Yes.
And so I like to say the hard drive isn't dead.
Right.
It's corroded, or, you know. And so part of our interest in this whole thing is saying, how can we treat this more effectively than with just numbing or not that the drugs aren't important,
Right.
but the socialization, the stimulation of what do you think about that? Do you think that makes sense?
Well, I think that when you see what's left that does respond, there's no question that it's music. Whether it's words that they're familiar with or just kind of some memories that are vague and at some level come back to life, but it's primal.
Yeah.
So yes, there's no question, and they love Elvis Presley. They, of course, whatever the genre was at the time, each of them. But oh yeah, it's almost magic.
I think it's a miracle, and I think that miracles are a lot more profuse than we give miracles credit for.
I totally agree. And it's a language that we can speak with them.
Yes.
So when we're here visiting and the music comes on or they go to music, we're all saying the same thing. We're in the same place.
Yes.
And for those of us that have lost degree by degree,
Yes.
it's a really special experience, because for that time we're in the same place.
Yeah.
Listening to music, enjoying music,
And being together.
and being together. Yeah, right.
And I find that, as someone who plays and watches and gets to see what goes on, the changes in the face, the changes in the eyes, even it's like they're growing new muscles on their bones.
Sure.
And I hope we can find a way as a society to capture and work at that angle of dealing with it. Have you had experience with that?
Well, I think that, in my opinion, they're kind of lost. They don't have any place to really be. So when they hear music, or whether it's just the rhythm or the music itself, or if it does take them back, just kind of without them knowing, to some really great places, it is pretty much the key. From what I've seen, it can get them up. One of our ladies is the same thing. She'll just be sitting around, mostly sleeping, but boy, she will actually just start really moving her body.
Yeah.
So I think that kudos to you, because music is definitely a language that these people speak.
Here we go now.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, why would God